Hola and aloha everyone, Jonathan coming to you live from Orgiva, Spain, and I'm up here in the mountains right now at the Hidden Paradise, and we just wrapped up the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat 2019, and it was such an incredible journey, and I wanted to share a little bit about some of the takeaways and transformations that have occurred in my life, not only from this event, but since doing this event last year, because what many of you have no idea about is that last year around this time I was feeling extremely overwhelmed, subtly and silently depressed inside of my own body, my own mind, my own heart, and to be honest with you, I even had thoughts of suicide and ending my own life. And it was a really challenging time for me, and I was so in my head. It was as if I could not quiet my mind. Have you ever felt that way before? Like the ego will not shut up, you know, and when you are on the path, the spiritual path of cultivating consciousness, and you know the difference between consciousness and unconsciousness, and you've been doing the work to stay awake, when the mind and the ego come back like that and it keeps flaring up and you don't have the capacity to overcome it, well, you start to get a little bit frustrated and a little bit beaten down. And that's how I was feeling last year, and I had to come here to Ecstatic Awakening and facilitate some workshops, and I wasn't feeling deeply aligned, and it was just like, what is going on? At the time, I had a ticket to go to Burning Man, and to be honest with you, the last thing that I wanted to do 1 year ago from now was to go to Burning Man and party like a rock star. Really, all that I could imagine doing, the only thing that I really wanted to do was to just sit in meditation. I just wanted to stop my thinking mind. It would not stop, and it was driving me crazy. And so that's exactly what I decided to do. I said, I'm gonna sit here and I'm going to meditate for an entire week. And I'm gonna give away my ticket. I gave away my ticket to Burning Man. And I ended up getting a ticket to go to a week-long meditation event in Toronto. But before that, I stayed here, and I actually came into this very shala 1 year ago. And I sat in this very location, and I prepared my sacred space. And I began a 3-day meditation fast, where essentially I sat with myself and I just went into my body. And during that time, I started to get exposed to certain things about myself. I started to realize that my mind and my body had taken over control. The mind inside of my body had taken over control. It was as if all of the emotions, all of the trauma, the pain, the stories, the sadness, the frustration, and the programs from my childhood had been stored inside of my body. And despite the fact that I have been expanding my capacity as a conscious creator and as a spiritual being, despite the fact that I've been connecting to source and expanding my understanding of who I am as the creator of my reality, I still had work to do inside of my body. And that's where the meditation came in. When I closed my eyes, I finally cut myself off to the visual world, to the world of the senses. I started to quiet the mind. Step by step, I would just start to catch myself thinking, and I would over and over again start to train myself to stay awake. And what ended up turning into the first meditation was actually only 2 hours before I got so inspired that I pulled out my phone and I shot a video. And from that moment forward, after I shot that video, I felt good, I felt inspired, I felt like I was doing something. And then I went back into meditation. Suddenly I got a burst of insight to start writing something. So I had my computer there and I started writing. And I kept going like this for 3 days, and within those 3 days, I completely decided to shift and to change my entire life. Now before that, I was just in a constant state of go, go, go. I was moving, I was traveling, I was, working constantly. It was as if I had to, work in order to survive, and it was just this scarcity mentality that was haunting me. But in all reality, like, when we slow down the mind, when we slow down the old programs and we tune in to this present moment, I mean, really we realize that there is an abundance, an infinite vast abundance of energy that is in the ether. You know, it's in the energy of the air. It is one of the 4 states of matter, which is plasma. You know, we are literally surrounded by energy. And when we can learn to tune our bodies like instruments and really start to accelerate our capacity to receive higher degrees of frequency, to tap into new ideas, to new epiphanies, new revelations, the present moment becomes one of the most crucial technologies. The body becomes one of the most important tools in order for us to begin to tap in to new potentials for our future. And so this year I've been going into meditation nearly every single day. I've been expanding and learning all different types of meditation, and the focus really has been on this idea of like quantum meditation, tuning into the quantum field and moving beyond the body and the mind and the program of who we think we are, and really expanding our capacity to hone the mind as a vehicle for consciousness. And so I'm really excited to share this journey with you. I'm so blessed. I can't even tell you how happy I am with the results of this past week. The workshop that I did was one of the best workshops of my entire life here at the Ecstatic Awakening retreat. Yeah, I got like a ton of, you know, one-on-one coaching sessions with people here, and we got to go super deep into each of these individuals' lives and businesses and visions, and I every time it just got deeper and deeper, and I was able to really tap in and channel in to support this community and show up in a way that I feel like I've never been able to before, and it's because I've been doing this internal work. And since last year, you know, a lot of change has happened in my life. I've you know, expanded my healing quest, you know, with my childhood trauma. I turned 33 1 week before that. I picked up the phone and called my coach, my perpetrator, who, you know, was my childhood abuser, and I did a ceremony with him, you know, and I was able to facilitate and guide that process over the phone, despite not having talked to him for, you know, decades. And you know, all of the work that I've been doing leading up to that had prepared me for that. You know, also giving up pornography and really tuning into sacred sexuality and expanding my ability to, you know, become a more orgasmic version of myself, to be able to really tune my body as a instrument for source, for consciousness, for more sensuality, for more embodiment, for more life. And I just feel this wellspring of energy that is emerging through me right now in this moment, and to be able to sit here 1 year later